the city, but I am tired of the same people, of the same things. I want to escape now to another place now, but with you, 'cause I don't want to be alone. Tell me if you want to follow me now, to follow me. Take me to your arms and never leave me. Don't leave me, boy. Tell me if you want to follow me now, to follow me. Take me to your arms and never leave me. Don't leave me, boy.
Four French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The three wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Fuji.
But before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, you can look and a drift is going off.
I love it. 10.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, hello everybody. Hello and welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to the very first race in what is the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. This is our little off-season between championships in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge. This does not count in any way towards the main championship, but it is still a lot of fun guaranteed. So many drivers and teams signed up for this one and excited for what the night has in store. And I, Chaz Draycott, will bring you all of the action as best I can over the course of this season. Unfortunately, my colleague Ed May is not with us this evening. He's not very well at the moment, is Ed. He was struggling a little bit during the British Boring Car Championship last week. So, unfortunately, he's unable to make it, but we wish him all the best. And, of course, hope that he will join us again very, very soon. This is a shorter season than the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge usually is. In the first season we had 12 rounds, then we had 10 for seasons 2 and 3. That may be extended in future seasons, but here we have just 6 race meetings in the GT4 Winter Tour. Starting here at Fuji Speedway, this amazing circuit, the full Grand Prix circuit as well for tonight. And then what we're going to be doing is having 9 races in 6 weeks. So some of these races are going to be as they were, as you've seen them before in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge. 1 hour long race with 40% fuel as a limit for our cars and some strategy involved, and basically an endurance race for these GT4 machines. GT4 only though, instead of having GT4 cars as the sort of shadow to larger, faster GT3s or even prototype cars, they are the stars of the show. We then go to Suzuka in a week's time, where we're going to have rounds 2 and 3 of the championship. Yes, we're going sprint racing in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. So there's going to be 2 races that night at half an hour each, and the cars will have a reverse grid for race 2 of the evening as well. So the top 15 will be swapped around on the grid. There's also a separate point scoring system for those races as well. You can't score as many points for winning a sprint race as you can for winning one of the endurance rounds of the championship. After Suzuka, we go back to Okayama for a endurance race. We'll then go to Bathurst, Mount Panorama on the 7th of November for another endurance race there. And then the last 2 race meetings of the season will be at Sandown on the 14th of November, which will be rounds 6 and 7. That's 2 sprint races there. And then we have a week off on the 21st of November before coming back on the 28th for Phillip Island, where we're going to be having 2 races there as well. But it's delightful to be back. It's great to be on your screens again here on Chaz Draycott Media. I want to give a shout out as well to the championship sponsors, Orris Digital, Crockery Direct and Derbyshire Holiday Homes. Thanks also to Andy Marston of Sim Racing Magazine. Without him, none of this would go on. So we'll look at some cars then, shall we? And straight off the bat, the car that is currently the fastest is Arthur Thurtle in the Altitude Esports machine. Now, Arthur is, well, very, very quick indeed. We've seen him in some of our events before, but Altitude Esports making a definite strong bid for this event and this series already, with the fact that both of their drivers are first and second, and in the Aston Martins as well. It's a car that has seemed to struggle in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge before, and these guys are doing a great job of it. In fact, 4 of the 5 drivers inside the top 5 are actually drivers that haven't raced with us in the championship before. Matthias Pentila is next up for RD Simsport. We have 2 RD Simsport drivers, and then also Guy Edwards as a late entry is driving the BMW for RD Simsport 2. He was racing the Mercedes in the previous season of the GT4 Challenge, but jumps in here. Dominic Brennan has, well, seemingly got the Spontex CDM Esports Scourers livery on his car, but he's actually racing for what is effectively a new leg of the team, which you'll see driven here by Simon Povey. This is Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped. Now, to fall in line with Spontex's new packaging range, which gets rid of plastics altogether and replaces them with recyclable cardboard, they have a lot of cardboard packaging, and we thought we'd have the car wrapped in a similar way. So it's got the brown and green branding on it, and effectively the car looks like it's made of cardboard when you see it up close. We hope that you enjoy it. I know it's very, very different to what you normally see a race car covered in, but we thought it was something fun to do. Who else have we got out there? Niles Core, after recently joining Satellite Racing. This is, I believe, is going to be the first league that he's going to be racing for the team in, and he is once again doing the BMW Justice up there at the front of the order. It's great to have Andy Hopley back with us as well. He's another BMW driver for this season. We also have Jacob Money making a return as well for Sapphire Simsport. One of the drivers inside the top 5 that you won't have seen on your screens before under the Sim Racing Magazine banner anyway until recently is Mike Murphy. He's having a really good run of it at the moment for Minardi Simsport Green. In fact, he's got his teammate Ben Chalcraft just in front of him there. So we've got Minardi Simsport Green, and that's it actually. So Nico Minardi and Ben Chalcraft are teammates at Minardi Simsport, coming over from the world of Circuit Superstars and Karting Superstars. And then Ben Chalcraft side by side with his teammate Mike there. Apologies about the frame rate, by the way. It seems like I'm getting a lot of stuttering at my end. Not quite sure what's causing that, but it seems like something in the McLarens is a bit of a pain. Taylor Adams is just behind these guys for Regenta Sim Racing. He's another one of the guys that you would have seen in the Sim Racing Magazine Cours au Mans, the special event that we had just recently. And right behind him, a great returnee to the championship, is Gary Tall. He's also racing for Spontex CDM Esports for this season. It's great to have Gary back out there. I'll remind him to paint his wheels next time, but he's doing a good job already inside the top 10 with his initial laps. Orris Racing have their own teams as well. There's Orris Racing Green and Orris Racing Yellow as two squads which will be out there on the circuit. Kim Such is teamed up with Ryan Penny for Orris Racing Green in the Porsche and Mercedes duo. And then Heinz Meyer and his brother Ralph will be racing for Orris Racing Yellow. What else haven't we touched on yet? Toby Johns is back with us. Toby was racing, of course, at the Cours au Mans in the Porsche, in the 911 RSR. He was racing there single-handedly, and he's got a real taste for the racing itself, and he's still on the pace. He's not at the bottom of the pile at the moment, which is good to see for Toby. Continuing to improve, as always. That, I think, is everybody at the moment. Tom Weston, actually, has a new team. He's part of Performance Link Esports now, is Tom. And he's just taken over doing the driver's briefing for tonight as well. So thank you, Tom, for sorting that out. He makes his way down the pit lane now in this lovely-looking race car. But Altitude Esports, well, here to certainly deliver, aren't they, in this championship. 0.2 of a second clear as well, Arthur Thurtle, over Adam Watson. I've raced with and commentated on Adam for quite a while. Very, very potent racer indeed. It's going to be interesting on the sprint race nights to see how some of these drivers come through from a little bit further back in the pack. The race winner of the first race of the night will be reversed to 15th on the grid. And you score the same amount of points for the second race as you do the first race as well. So should really shake up the championship order quite a lot and keep it feisty. As of right now, the drivers and teams will wrap up their qualifying session, their practice session. And that will be all from everybody before we finally get going for the first qualifying session of the season in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. Perfect timing there as the car goes flying past us down the start-finish straight. And it's going to be quiet for just a moment here while everybody now spawns in and heads down the pit lane. Let's go and have a look at the end of the pit lane itself. You can see Simon Povey making his way out. We've also got Mike Horder there in the boosted Motorsport Mercedes. I believe he's running the same livery that John Roberts ran when he last raced the car in the championship. More and more cars make their way out onto the circuit. I believe they're just going past us was Mark Johnson in the Legends Racing car. There is Niles Core as well. Definitely one to watch this season is Niles. It's going to be as fast as ever. But Tom Weston, one of the first drivers out on the circuit. Simon Povey just ahead of him there. Yeah, apologies for the frame rate, everyone. It seems to be absolutely awful here today at Fuji. I'm really not sure what is causing that. Usually it's all right. At this present moment, very stuttery indeed. So a big filled grid then of cars for this evening for the first round of the championship. Like I say, it's going to be all about being versatile this season for these drivers because they have to obviously compete in endurance races and in sprint races as well. Just looking up and down. Andre Mayerek as well is another driver that joins us in the ORD car. This is the purple Mercedes that he'll be driving for this season, the Czech driver. Didn't see where he ended up in practice, unfortunately. He was in the pit lane the whole time that we went live on the broadcast, but Mercedes is a very solid car indeed. And down the very long straight they go here at Fuji. I love this camera up there in the grandstands overlooking the whole thing. We'll get a great view of the start from up here. And the first drivers now start to get their laps in. There's Taylor Adams for Regenta Sim Racing. And while the car is purple, the sectors are purple for Simon Povey at the moment, or at least the first sector is anyway. Don't forget, Simon was Season 1 champion of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge after an epic title fight with our very own Ed May throughout the season. Got a bit of blinking in and out by Adam Watson, it seems, unfortunately. He's having a bit of a connection issue there somewhere, so hopefully that gets sorted out along the way. Here's Mike Horder in this very tricky chicane section on this track. These cars will feel pretty horrible around there, to be honest with you, especially the front engined of them. Obviously the McLaren with its engine in the middle and the Porsche with the engine right over the back end will feel a lot more tasty around there than the Aston Martin, the Mercedes and the BMW with their big V8 engines. Dominic Brennan coming out the final corner now to cross the line. He flies down the start-finish straight, and what are the first times going to be like on the board then? Already nearly a third of qualifying gone because of how long it takes to get around a lap here. Taylor Adams goes fastest in the Aston Martin at the moment. We wait to see the other times come in. Simon Povey goes quickest. Tom Weston second fastest. There's Andy Hopley just coming out of the pits right now for the H Motorsport machine. Love this retro-ish livery on Andy's car. Matthias Pentila's gone second fastest. Arthur Thurtle is quickest for Altitude Esports again. Arthur on an absolute mission there. Mark Johnson sets a time. Where does that put him? 10th fastest at the moment. We have our top 10 complete. I think Gary Tall did say he was going to start from the back of the grid for this one, or he was going to start from the pit lane or something. He's just going to take it easy. He's not been in the sim for a while. Mike Murphy's actually done purple middle sector here. The Minardi Simsport green driver flies across the line and goes second fastest, 0.2 of a second off Arthur Thurtle. Brilliant time by Mike Murphy. Simon Povey's done another purple sector 1, so he is obviously up for improving even further. He needs to be so careful over that curb though. It's really easy to pick up an incident point there by running off the circuit. The drivers will of course have to worry about incident points, because if you get 20 over the course of a race in general, then you will get a drive-through penalty. If you get 30 incidents, which really in an hour-long race you shouldn't, then you get disqualified on the spot. By the sim, that is, as well, not by me. But Simon makes it around the final corner now. Just across the line. Taylor Adams and Dominic Brennan just ahead of both set times that will be improvements as well. Taylor Adams moves up to 4th place there, just under half a second off the top spot. Dominic Brennan goes 12th fastest. He's been at the Expo recently, so he's not had a chance to fully practice or put his livery on. Simon Povey goes fastest, though, by 0.4 of a second over Arthur Thurtle. Mike Horder goes 4th fastest. Weston goes 5th. He's going well. Arthur Thurtle does improve, but not enough to take pole position. 15 times on the board at the moment. Andre Mayerek has just put a lap time in. He goes 12th fastest now with a 1:47.389. Still waiting for a number of drivers to set their first laps. Philip Hopley about to cross the line. Some of them must have got incident points first time round. Philip crosses the line, decides that is that, and moves out of the way. Heinz Mayer, the championship sponsor, just crossed the line, and he's gone 14th fastest at this moment. Chalcraft goes 5th. Niles Kaur currently at the moment in 7th position. Ralph in the chat saying that he's a supporter from Paris today. Can't wait to see how this pans out. Thanks for jumping in, Ralph. Hope you're doing well, mate. Look forward to seeing you back on the circuit again in the near future. There was a mention of Ryan Penny always being the one in the mayor sandwich as such. He's always the driver in between the two of them on the circuit, if there ever is anybody between them on the circuit. Ed and I always pay attention to the fact that Ralph and Heinz are always right together on the circuit. But now Ryan Penny and Kim Such teamed up with them as Orris Racing. Kim just 2 places ahead of Ryan at the moment by just 1/10 of a second. But at the moment it's still Povey fastest. Taylor Adams improves in the middle sector, but nothing in the final sector. Dominic Brennan improves time and time again there. He's going to be happy with that one. Andy Hopley goes up to 12th place as well. The two of them separated by very little. The car at the side of the road there, I believe, was Taylor Adams in the Aston Martin. Yeah, he's just going slowly now to come back out onto the circuit. Povey pulls over and moves out of the way. Gary Tall is actually out there putting a time in by the look of it. Just trail braking a bit around the long right-hander. It's called 100R, that long sweeping right into the corner just known as hairpin, which is turns 6 and 7. And 300R, which is this little kink here. And then Dunlop corner, which is the chicane at the bottom of the hill, or the hairpin into a chicane at the bottom of the hill. We'll go on board with the Porsche as Gary makes his way back up the hill. Niles Corger's 3rd fastest, but look at that. Simon Povey and Arthur Thurtle a few tenths of a second ahead of everybody else at the moment. Certainly showing that they are the class of the field. You can see how patient you have to be around this sector at the end of the lap. But looking at the times then, we've got 3 Minardi Simsport cars inside the top 10 at the moment. Nico's 5th fastest. We've got Ben Chalcraft 7th fastest, and Mike Murphy is up there in 4th position. Mike and Ben raced in the Sim Racing Magazine Cours au Mans, and they really did a great job for the Renvort Remnants team, surprising everybody and leading the class for most of the race. But unfortunately, strategy threw it away for them because they had to do an extra pit stop compared to their main rivals in the race. It was really heartbreaking, but again, they did an absolutely awesome job. Right now, there's a bunch of drivers in the top 10. Actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers in the top 10 that aren't usual GT4 Challenge participants. Taylor Adams currently 10th fastest. Matthias Pentila is currently in 9th place. Doesn't improve there in the Mercedes. He's racing for RD Simsport in this championship and flying the flag for them. Arthur Thurtle's on a purple sector 1 here, but no improvement anywhere else around the lap. And yeah, it looks like the lap doesn't get any better. Guy Edwards improves, but stays 11th fastest. Guy Edwards literally just signed up a few hours ago as well, by the way, so he's a very late entry to the championship, but grateful to have him as always. Excellent support again from RD Simsport. It's lovely to see the BMW back out. He said that he's racing the M4 in Christopher Smith's honour. Chris, synonymous with this BMW M4 in 2 seasons of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge. I think Gary Toll's just using this session as a bit of a practice at the moment. I said he was either going to start from the back or start from the pit lane, and it seems like he's just getting acquainted with the car at certain parts of the circuit. Tom Weston up there in 8th place at the moment. He's on a real mission at this moment in time for Performance Link Esports. He's going down the start-finish straight now across the line in car number 10. No improvements on this lap, so maybe he's gearing himself up for a fast one at the end. You can see a bit of cloud over in the distance as we look towards turn 1. Look how long the start-finish straight is here. The speed you can carry into that first corner is very impressive in the Porsche, actually. It was, whoa, Tom kicks the back end out on corner exit. Matthias Pentila has improved a little bit in the middle sector. It's enough to put him up to 7th place, though. Great improvement by him. Nico Minardi next up, currently 5th fastest. He's not in a position to improve just yet. And then Toby Johns behind. He's in 21st place outright. But again, continually improving. He's moved up to 18th place now with that new time, so well done to Toby Johns. TAJ Racing always getting faster. Ryan Penny about to cross the line for Orris Racing Green. Does he improve? Is that first sector enough? It's not enough to improve his entire lap. Dominic Brennan is looking to definitely improve on his lap time. Nothing in the final sector, however. Oh, he doesn't even go up a place. He improved, but it wasn't enough to move up a position. He's got Jacob Money behind him there. He's also behind him in terms of positions as well. Kim Such improves and is 19th as a result. Incredibly competitive and close at the moment, though. There's no knowing who would take this one. There's no drop rounds in this championship either, as it's so short and there's so few races. A drop round would have too much of a profound effect, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, this is only really one that's a bit more for fun between seasons, to help us do a bit of testing with certain formats and ideas. So don't be surprised if the championship develops slightly over the course of the season. If it comes to another race and we've suddenly got a 30% fuel limit or a 50% fuel limit, then don't be completely surprised, because we're here to use this as testing for the season ahead, as Guy Edwards has had a moment. Oh, and he's reversed onto the apex. I don't think he realised that the car was parked so closely to said apex. Here's Mark Johnson in the Aston Martin. Just going out the final corner now and across the line. You can see just how uphill as well the start-finish straight is here at Fuji. It's not flat. You do climb up a very steep hill. Mark rattles his way across the line in the Aston Martin, making a wonderful noise as it goes. Dominic Brennan again looking to improve on his time. 13th fastest at the moment, and doesn't improve overall. Maybe got an incident point along the way. He's chasing his teammate Simon Povey, who has been overtaken by Arthur Thurtle by 43 thousandths of a second. So it is mighty close between those guys. Arthur doing a great job. His teammate, who was second fastest earlier on, Adam Watson, has had an issue with the sim, I think, and Adam has not been in the entire qualifying session. He's actually still on his outlap as well. He's only got a minute left to cross the line and start a quali lap. So Adam may already be on the back foot here. I think he had a connection problem just earlier. He really needs to get a shift on here. If we show you roughly how busy the track is. Oh, apologies. That's how busy the track is. It's all in the final sector. Everyone seems to have lined this up nicely to try and get a time on the board. So, on board now with Adam Watson. Into the final couple of corners he goes. He should be alright to still get across the line, I think. It's going to be a close run thing, this, you know. I don't think he's going to get across the line. 3, 2, 1. Oh, goodness me. I don't know if he got that or not. He's staying flat out just in case. But the final times will now come through. Mark Johnson is 17th fastest. We'll stay looking at Adam Watson. Niles Core improves, his third fastest, but he's still 0.3 of a second off. Jacob Money moves up into 11th place. And Adam Watson has continued, so I think he might have just got that by the skin of his teeth, but he needs to be careful not to invalidate the lap by going outside of track limits. Kim Such improves, but does not move up a position. Taylor Adams has improved in his first sector. Oh, is Adam Watson pushing it a bit farther? I'm not sure. He's right on the limit. Absolutely on the limit in the Aston Martin. Altitude Esports have come here with no intention of just messing around. They're certainly making great waves at the moment. Arthur Thurtle looking to be the fastest unless his teammate goes one better here. We've got Taylor Adams, Andy Hopley and Matthias Pentila crossing the line to finish their laps, but no major improvements there. Adam just needs to use this as a banker lap now, really. We call it a banker lap when you've just got one chance to get it done, basically. Put a safe bet in. He's done personal bests, which is very clear because it's his first fast lap. Frame rate seemed nice and smooth around there for once, and then all of a sudden it dies on the exit. So Adam Watson, I think, just got this in by the skin of his teeth. Where's it going to put him on the grid? Is it going to be enough He's going to cross the line now. It's a 1:45.7 to beat. I think it's a 1:46.7 for Adam Watson. And no. It must have been an invalidated lap time because Adam Watson does not get a time on the board, and we'll start this race from the back of the grid for Altitude Esports, and it's going to be Arthur Thurtle that's going to take his first pole position in the championship, and of course first pole position of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour, sponsored by Derbyshire Holiday Homes, Orris Digital and Crockery Direct here on Chaz Draycott Media. And I know this is going to be a lot of fun, this championship. We're certainly going to enjoy ourselves, especially starting here in the gorgeous hills of Fuji, just at the root of Mount Fuji. We've got 3 rounds in Japan, like I say. We've got the first round here, of course, with Suzuka next up with races 2 and 3, which will be 2 sprint races, and then Okayama, which will be a really good race, and that's going to go into the night as well as an overall sort of endurance race. We'll have a look at the grid then before we get underway. It's Arthur Thurtle starting on pole position from Simon Povey with Niles Corr and Mike Murphy. Great stuff from the Minardi guys there, actually. Starting on the second row is Mike Murphy with Nico Minardi, team boss, just behind him. Mike Horder starts 6th for Boosted Motorsport with Matthias Pentila next up in 7th. And then the other Minardi SimSport driver, Ben Chalcraft, means that all 3 of them get inside the top 10. Tom Weston in car number 10 starts in 9th place, ahead of Taylor Adams in 10th place with the number 65 machine. Then it's Jacob Money alongside Guy Edwards on the 6th row of the grid. Guy maybe just still getting used to the BMW a little bit there. Then it's his fellow BMW driver Andy Hopley alongside Dominic Brennan in 14th position. Then it's Heinz Meyer and Andre Mayerek in 16th place. Mark Johnston is 17th alongside Toby Johns, with Kim Such and Philip Hopley rounding out the top 20. Next up is Ryan Penny in 21st place, with Gary Toll in 22nd, and Adam Watson, unfortunately, not able to get a time on the board. So it's nice and quiet here at Fuji as we wait for the grid to form up. There is Simon Povey, second on the grid. Arthur Thurtle will join him on the front row. Matthias Pentila is going to be a bit further back. Taylor Adams also we're waiting on, as well as Ryan Penny. And Adam Watson has still not taken to the grid just yet. There is the very rough cardboard McLaren. When we posted pictures of the car in the Discord server, I believe straight off the bat it was Ben Chalcraft that said, "I hope it doesn't rain." You and me both, son. As Arthur Thurtle, though, no championship points for pole position in this series. It's something that we do in the GT4 Challenge, but not here, unfortunately. So Arthur not getting a point for his troubles there. And it looks like Adam Watson has had another drama because he's not taking to the grid. So Gary Toll will be the final car at the back of the grid on that row with Ryan Penny. But Adam Watson will not be there. He's actually going to start from the pit lane, I believe. But the field gets underway for the first time in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. Hope you're all as excited for this one as I am. Let us know in the chat where you may be watching from around the world, or who you're cheering on for this mini winter season. As mentioned, I'll do my very best to commentate single-handedly again, but I've got a terrible mouth ulcer at the moment on my bottom gum, which makes me slur my words and I sound like a drunk half of the time. But we'll get there, and hopefully, of course, we'll have Ed May back with us for future rounds. Mike Horder starting on the 3rd row of the grid, 6th place for him. He's got the 2 Minardi SimSport cars in front. Minardi SimSport Green's Mike Murphy, and then Nico Minardi just ahead of that. Niles Corr starting 3rd in the big beefy BMW. Keep an eye on him. His new satellite racing machine certainly ready to go. Mike Horder is not letting Mike Murphy get away with anything here. Arthur Thurtle weaving in and out a little bit there as he disappeared for a moment there, actually. Continues to weave and get them ready. I'm not sure if this is some interesting tactic by Arthur, but we get underway for the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour, and the first race of the season from Fuji is go. Great start by all the guys at the entire front end and back end of the field. Everyone keeping it nice and tidy as they head down towards turn 1. Thurtle continues to lead with that great launch off the start. There was a little bit of 3 wide in the middle there. I think somebody had to back out of that. Tom Weston was on the inside. Just in front of him was the Mercedes. Who was that Mercedes that was in there? The Mercedes in front there is actually Matthias Pentila, which was, I thought we were looking at Ben Shellcraft, sorry. But the camera was seemingly not fixed on him. There's a Minardi Simsport battle there, an inter-team battle going on, and Pentila sends it up the inside of Nico. The two of them together. Nico running car 16 actually, because Matthias has taken his number for this race. Tom Weston there in a battle with Guy Edwards. Andy Hopley's got a front row seat for all of this. Dominic Brennan just behind as well as they go through 300R, the right-hand kink. Let's not forget this race is an hour long, and they have 40% fuel as a limit. So we will usually see 2 pit stops in these races. Drivers that can save fuel like madmen are able to get just 1 stop out of their fuel. But Arthur Thurtle, what a great start from him here, is already a second clear of Simon Povey at the moment, while the battles continue on behind Niles Corr and Mike Horder, who's gained 2 spots already, overtaking both of the Minardi Simsport McLarens behind him. He's jumped the entire team in that one. Andy Hopley trying to come through the order as well. He's side by side with fellow BMW driver Guy Edwards. All BMWs seemingly together in the middle of the field there, other than, of course, Niles Corr a little bit further up. Dominic Brennan now hoping to get a bit of slipstream at the end of lap 1, but it's Arthur Thurtle leading from Simon Povey and Niles Corr as we complete the first lap of the season. Big slipstreaming opportunity here for Dominic Brennan. He goes between the two of them, tries to fit between them BMWs. He's going to try and look down the inside. Guy Edwards not scared of turning in there and nearly clips the front of him. Andre Mayorak is now behind this and has a good view of it all happening in front of him. Trying to keep an eye on that apex. It's a very quick corner, is that left-hander. It doesn't seem that quick from the onboard camera, but it really is. It's quite a scary, scary corner, to be honest with you. Adam Watson has unfortunately had to pull into the pits. He's had a drama, some sort of technical fault for him, and the car is not working as he wanted it to. Oh no, Tom Weston's off. Tom Weston was fighting very closely with Jacob Money just a moment ago, and Tom has now dropped down and down the order. Let's have a look. Jacob Money looks up the inside. Oh, there's a big amount of netcode involved there. And unfortunately, Tom is left trackside. So now it's all about a recuperation drive for Tom Weston. And he's pushing a little bit too hard there, maybe slightly frustrated at what just happened. Thurtle's lost a bit of time here to Simon Povey, but the Altitude Esports driver continues to lead the way in impressive fashion. In his first couple of laps with us in the series. Third place, Niles Corr, still looking as strong as he always does. The main battle's a bit further back, just outside the top 10. Now you get points inside the top 15 places in these endurance races. You get 20 points for winning, then 18, 16, 14, 12. Then it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whereas in the sprint races, you only get 15 points for winning a race, and then it's 1 point less per position after that. Here's Philip Hopley with Ryan Penny and Gary Tall behind for company. Gary braking a little bit early just to keep an eye on what's happened in front of him, as Guy Edwards is what's happened in front of him. He's facing the wrong way in the BMW. Let's have a look here. So Andy Hopley passed him a few corners before this. Oh, Guy's lost it all on his own. And then he gets collected by, I think, Toby Johns, that is, just gives him a tap in the front. Hopefully no major damage to either car. Guy Edwards able to carry on. Not the start he would have wanted to his winter tour. Niles Corr is looking very feisty here, actually. He's got the glittery blue BMW. And Mike Horder as well, making that Mercedes look very, very feisty indeed. Mike has been very fast in all of our events in the McLaren 570S GT4. We usually see him in for boosted, but I believe he's taken over John Roberts' car for this race. John Roberts usually using, I should say, the green livery that we see Mike running here. Mike's very often got this very bright magenta-y pink colour as his main highlight as part of the team. So another lap in the books. And we have now completed, as you see there, 3 laps of this race. Just about to start lap 4 now in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. Good battle going on here actually as Taylor Adams closes in on Ben Chalcraft. Jacob Money, Andy Hopley, both waiting in the wings in their BMWs. And look at the legs on that Beamer in a straight line there. Jacob Money flies through, and well, Taylor Adams brakes a little bit early, I imagine, just to make sure that he's definitely going to make the corner. As down the inside also goes Andy Hopley. Andy was one of the front runners a few seasons ago, teammates with Ed May for H Motorsport. And now he's fighting side by side with Taylor Adams, who just ekes him out. Andy affects his own line a little bit too much there. We've got Toby Johns here just in front of Kim Such. 2 relatively new drivers to iRacing still. Kim has been getting faster and faster in the leagues that he's been running in. And Toby, of course, the only appearance we've seen from him before now was at the Court Oman. And he did a really good job single-handedly as Kim Such throws it up the inside. Oh, Toby turns in. There's a little bit of contact between the two. But they both managed to carry on. Flashes his lights in disapproval of that move. But at the end of the day, I think, to be fair, Kim made it very clear what he was going to do. Just behind them, we've got Philip Hopley and then Ryan Penny in the Mercedes, both being chased down by Gary Toll. Gary hits the brakes to not go into the back of him. Great respect between our drivers, it has to be said. Everybody in the series so friendly with one another. It's a lovely place to be. There's the move in front. I think there might have been a little bit of a mistake by Kim Such, and Philip Hopley now tries to take advantage. Bit of a blink in and out by Toby Johns. Gary Toll tries to now tuck up the inside of Ryan Penny to try and take advantage. This is a great battle here. Further down the order, this is for the last couple of places in the top 20, but still, it's awesome racing. Tom Weston is only 0.8 of a second behind this as well, actually. He's going to be in slipstreaming range anytime soon. We'll stay on board with Gary Toll here. Do you go left, do you go right, Gary? That's the question. Still got personal best lap times coming in. There's a battle ahead with Andy Hopley, Ben Chalcraft and Taylor Adams going down in towards the first couple of corners. But we stay with this for now. Gary moves over to the right slightly at the fear that Philip Hopley was going to come to a complete stop there. He slammed on the brakes a bit early. Gary goes through. Oh, past 1, past 2. Thank you, says Gary Toll. Ryan Penny says, not on your life. Moves over slightly in the Merc, but no, the Porsche goes through. And then this battle continues on just in front as Kim Such down the inside of Toby Johns. They both collect a track limits warning and come back on. Ahead of this as well is Heinz Mayer and Mark Johnson having a good scrap. Heinz trying to get a cut back on the exit of the left-hander down at turn 6. A long sweeping turn 7. That is turn 8. And then the next apex is turn 9, 300R. Towards the Dunlop corner. It's great to see these cars going like that through the chicane, isn't it? One way then the other. Oh so tidy, oh so cautious. Simon Povey not quite able to stay with Arthur Thurtle at this moment in time as there's been drama. Jacob Money is around. Jacob's got to sit there and wait. Backs out. And then gets back on with it when there's a gap in the traffic. So what happened there? Oh, Jacob's done it on his own, and oh no, Andy Hopley's been caught up in it. And now he's having a fight with Kim Such, who goes through down the inside. Hello. Christopher Smith in the chat saying, who are we? RD Army. Christopher Smith saying, get your auntie in here. Because James Holman's popped up in the chat to say his mum and auntie are over visiting. He's looking forward to joining next time round. We look forward to having you, James. It's always an absolute pleasure, mate. Let's look at this battle going on here. Taylor Adams and Dominic Brennan now side by side. Regenta Sim Racing versus Spontex CDM Esports on Wrapped. Andy Hopley now just in front of the pair of them. Then Ben Chalcraft still holding on. Car 8, P8 at the moment for Ben. Just ahead of him, 4 seconds up the road actually, is his teammate Nico Minardi, team boss of Minardi Simsport. And then spearheading their attack at the moment is Mike Murphy, holding on to 5th place. Oh, there's been big drama here. Tom Weston's off. Gary Toll is off. Gary's off on the right-hand side of the circuit. Tom has managed to carry on. What on earth has happened here, gents? Oh, dearie me, it was 3 wide. We'll go to Old Faithful chopper cam. So you've got, oh, Gary Toll side by side with Kim Such. The two of them make a bit of contact. Tom Weston looks down the inside as, oh, Tom's overcooked it. Oh, and he nails Gary Tall off the road. Tom just saw a gap and tried to go for it, and unfortunately, said gap was not really as open as he thought. And here's an interesting idea. Niles Corr chasing down Simon Povey in the very noisy BMW M4 GT4. Love this car. I really don't look forward to the day that iRacing updates the M4 GT4. It's nothing anywhere near as pretty as this one. You can hear just how far Niles is actually lifting there. He's doing a lot of lifting and coasting at the end of the straight in the Dr. Dabber branded machine. Gary Tall was unfortunately into the pits with damage on his Cayman. That's a big, big shame. With his first race back, he really wanted to go out there and enjoy himself, but he's been knocked about a bit at the back of the pack. There's two of the purple fans here, Taylor Adams and Andre Mayerek. Andre in car number 4, joining this championship for his first taster of the series for ORD. These are the pops and bangs of the Aston Martin there as Taylor Adams guides it round the right-handers. Such a low revving beast is the Aston Martin Vantage GT4. It doesn't sound like it's really doing anything, does it? They've got Mark Johnson behind, who's one of the biggest movers in the field so far. In fact, actually, Andre Mayerek, Andy Hopley and Don Brennan, all the biggest movers on +5 places at this moment in time. So a bunch of them going very well indeed. And that's despite Andy Hopley's little misdemeanour a moment ago. Continues to impress, does Andy. He's always been quick. Used to watch him. One of my first ever commentary gigs was actually Andy in TCR cars here on iRacing in the Sim Racers World TCR series, which Andy helped run. A little bit of a mistake over the curbs there, though, and he manages to collect it all together again. But he's got this epic train of cars following him. Now you won't see pit stops for quite a while yet. The pit stops tend to come in about the sort of 35-minute to 25-minute mark. But that's if people are able to save fuel, because this is one of those circuits where it's quite difficult because of the size of this straight. Look at the McLaren in the straight line. Dominic Brennan flying past the BMW. BMW is usually known for being the quick car in a straight line, but the McLaren gets out of the corner in a beautiful way. Dominic Brennan moves in front up into 8th place now to become the biggest mover in the field at the moment. Christopher Smith is saying that the Aston is OP. Yeah, last season there was a lot of calls for the Aston Martin to get some help, but as part of the championship and with what we do, we weren't ever really going to add a balance of performance in, because we just have the cars as iRacing have them and run setups that iRacing already has loaded into it. All we do is simply limit the fuel. As Kim Such has had a drama. Back onto the circuit he goes. Wonder what happened there to Kim. Behind Toby. Oh, he has to back out of it. Toby was slow on the exit of the corner, and it just caught Kim out there, I think. And then he got a push from behind. I think that was Guy Edwards in the BMW. There he is in car 55. Guy back up into 17th place, nearly in a point scoring position again. Now let's look back from Simon Povey's McLaren at that BMW of Niles Corr, because I don't think Niles is full chat here. I think he knows just how good that BMW is, where he needs to be on it. I hate that even from out here you can still hear the McLaren gear shift clicks. Listen. Horrible, horrible noise. It just really gets into my ears, and I don't know why. Right now, though, Simon Povey in the Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped car is not unwrapping the lead of Arthur Thurtle. Arthur's been mighty impressive so far. And this Aston Martin leads the way, untouched at the minute. Moving around a lot over the curbs and bobbling around as the Aston Martin so beautifully does. But it's nice to see this car back in full contention here at the top. And yeah, Online Race Driver, which is ORD, have rightly pointed out that Andre Mayerek is quietly moving up the order in his usual stealth mode. It's not the subtlest of stealth machines, guys, I must say, but it's a very pretty stealth machine, this Mercedes. But Andre stuck now behind Andy Hopley in that tower block of a BMW. But you're absolutely right, he started 16th on the grid. He's gained 5 places so far, second biggest mover in the field, behind Dominic Brennan. Battle's going on here between Tom Weston and Ryan Penny. Tom Weston going through. Ryan tried to get him, come back at him, but it didn't work this time round for him, and unfortunately loses that place. We'll go back to this though, because Chalcraft is having to hold on here ahead of Andy Hopley, and then Andre Mayerek just behind the pair of them. Ben doing a really good job at this moment in time. Yeah, Christopher Smith saying that Povey and Niles Core are both thinking ahead because of their fuel saving. That's absolutely right. You can just see the way that they were lifting into the first couple of corners. That's one of the interesting things here, is that we've got a lot of drivers that haven't raced in our format here before in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. They haven't raced in the GT4 Challenge, so maybe they don't know the format as well. Maybe they haven't done the maths. I imagine Arthur Thurtle and the Altitude Esports guys have. They're a very competitive outfit, very, very strong. Run by a good friend of mine, actually, Mark Fletcher, who made Altitude Esports just a couple of years ago, and they've continued to grow and grow. They've now got this gorgeous silver design on their cars. They were previously just white, like this very sort of metallic pearlescent white with the blue and black designs on them. Niles Core looking closer and closer to Simon Povey here though. And this BMW is another new livery to us here in the Sim Racing Magazine umbrella as such. Satellite Racing, the team now, I'd say, lucky to have Niles Core. Not lucky to have, you know what I mean, like, it's not all luck that they've got him. Obviously they've picked him up because he's a rapid driver and they've spotted his talent. But he's a great acquisition, I must say, because Niles proved time and time again in the GT4 Challenge that he's a constant threat at the front in a car like the BMW. And let's not forget the incredibly dominant performance he put in just last week at the Sim Racing Magazine Cours au Mans, when he won the GTE category by a considerable distance. And ORD letting us know that Andre hadn't driven Fuji until a couple of days ago. So yeah, he has absolutely done brilliantly so far. Thanks for letting us know that, guys. 42 minutes left to go. There's a battle developing here between the Mikes, Mike Horder and Mike Murphy. Both fans of green, it seems, both together on the circuit. Mike Murphy in the McLaren chasing down the boosted motorsport car. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3, 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. And until earlier, with Tom Weston up there, we had all manufacturers in the top 10. 5 different manufacturers in this championship: the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, the McLaren 570S GT4, BMW M4 GT4, Mercedes AMG GT GT4, and of course the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR, as it is fully known. Matthias Pentela's doing a good job at the moment, 6th place for him, as he holds on to the cars ahead. RD Simsports flying flag bearer, I should say, at the moment, as this battle continues on. Toby Johns is really getting his money worth tonight. He's having a really good race, getting his elbows out, getting stuck in with some strong battles. He's got Tom Weston next to him. Tom's going to try and go down the inside of what is known as Coca-Cola Curve, or Coca-Cola Corner, I should say. Tom gets through, and Toby respectfully gives him the room. It's always tidy racing in this championship, really. If you ever do see contact, it's just 9 times out of 10 racing incident. Just close racing as Andre tries it down the inside of Chalcraft. That doesn't work for him. Chalcraft holding on from Minardi Simsport. He and his teammate Nico are actually both behind their sort of stablemate Mike Murphy. There is a teams championship as well in the SRM GT4 Winter Tour. And at present we have 6 teams entered. Altitude Esports, it's only for cars or teams that have more than 2 cars, or well, they're limited to 2 cars. So yeah, I'll start again. If a team enters 2 cars, they are automatically entered into the teams championship. We've got Thurtle and Watson for Altitude Esports. Minardi Simsport is Ben Chalcraft and Nico Minardi. Kim Such and Ryan Penny. Kim Such just getting lapped there actually in the Porsche. They're racing for Orris Racing Green. Heinz and Ralph Mayer for Orris Racing Yellow. RD Simsport is James Holman and Matthias Pentela. and then Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped, Simon Povey and Dominic Brennan. So there is teams honours to think about as well. Andy Hopley's just overtaken Andre Meyerek, and Andre, I think, just had a bit of a poor run out of the first corner there, which has cost him dear. That, and Andy seems to be on a mission here. He's really hoping to close down on the McLaren in front of him, which is Ben Chalcraft. Lick of flame there from the back end of the McLaren. It does look like you're in a Range Rover looking down at a tiny little Caterham or something, doesn't it, from up here in the BMW? This humongous car. But the M4 is certainly a potent bit of kit. Does look a bit odd amongst the other GT cars in the GT4 category. It looks like someone's just entered a very, very pokey touring car, but still. Doing a good job of it at the moment is Andy Hopley, chasing Ben Chalcraft. It's been a great race to start the season so far. Loads of battles and switching around going on as everybody tries to get acquainted to each other. That's a big acquaintance made there by Andy Hopley. Sends it up the inside of Chalcraft. He's not scared of making those moves, is Andy. Very, very solid driver he is. Very confident, and certainly shows there as well. Now, is Chalcraft going to come under pressure from Andre Meyerek here? I think he will do in the slipstream. I don't think Andre's going to hold back at all here. He's got no reason to, really, unless he's fuel saving. 38.5 minutes of this race still left to go. We're on to the 13th lap now at Fuji. The Mercedes just not quite with the McLaren down the start-finish straight. And as they head now into the first corner again, hard on the brakes and keep it nice and tidy. Mark Johnson's just off the back of this with his shiny Union Jack Aston Martin for Legends Racing. Mark is a massive Aston Martin fan, and he's been loving being able to race the car in the category. He's getting a little bit more out of it this evening than he has done in the GT4 Challenge, which is good to see. I know that he did have a bit of a tough run of it. I say he loved running it, but he did find it a bit of a nightmare at most circuits because it was very underpowered compared to a lot of the other cars. Now, this is an interesting fight that's developed because Mike Horder was home and dry earlier on in 4th place by the look of it. All of a sudden Mike Murphy is right with him. Mike's been a star tonight. Really, really quick out of the blocks here is Mr. Murphy in the McLaren. I know that he and the team will be very happy with this initial performance if he can keep it on the black stuff and score the points. Obviously he won't count towards the team's championship like Nico and Ben will, but even then those two are both doing a great job as well in their debuts in the series. Patia staying in 6th place at the moment, just keeping an eye on whatever these two do in front of him because he needs to be in it to win it in situations like this. Mike Murphy's going to go for it, I think. He looks to the inside. I feel Mike Horder might just roll over and take this one here because he knows that once he's behind Mike, he could maybe do a bit of fuel saving. He's thinking about the long run here, and Matthias might do the same as well, knowing that these two are fighting in front of him. So it gives him more of a validation to take it easy, although with no brake marker in front of him in the form of that big green Mercedes, Mike Murphy runs a little bit wide through there. That's Taylor Adams doing in the Aston Martin, another one of our newcomers, still just behind Meyerek, Chalcraft and Hopley. Lovely little quartet in the middle of the pack this. Mark Johnson only a second and a bit off the back of them as well, to be fair, so definitely not out of the woods. That's how the field is spread out at the moment. 23 cars, although Gary Toll unfortunately out of the race after the earlier damage sustained. He has decided to retire from this one after that big hit that he got on the front left. Seems to have broken the car, and there was a fast repair available, but I'm not sure it was taken, or either that or it was unticked and the car needed more fixing than it was worth with just an hour-long race. I think it was game over, unfortunately, for Gary. Christopher Smith raising a very good point that there is a nice, interesting mix of cars. As into the pits comes Mike Murphy and Matthias Pentila. These two of the first entrants on their way in. Down they go. Down the very long pit lane here at Fuji. It's absolutely massive. But they now continue on their run down there. Simon Povey still in second place with Niles Core next up. And then these guys are a good 9 seconds ahead of Mike Horder. So the pace in the top three has been remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. They've been about half a second a lot quicker than everybody else consistently. But Arthur Thurtle, newcomer to the Sim Racing Magazine umbrella in this form anyway, doing an epic job, it must be said. Look how much they can cut that corner and get away with it there. I suppose with it being such a tight and horribly natured hairpin, the Sim is very lenient with them. But Arthur is doing a standout job here at the front of the pack for Altitude Esports. Look at the way he just guides the car around there. It's a very difficult circuit for that. I drove it quite recently on a different sim as well and realised just how much of a nightmare it is with these long smooth corners. I hate corners that you have to start braking halfway round them for. And into the pits he goes. Look at the speedy pit entrance here at Fuji. In goes Thurtle, and Simon Povey and Niles Core continue on here. So Simon Povey inherits the lead of the race. These could be the moments where the experience of the format outshines out-and-out pace. Have to wait and see. Certainly an interesting balance either way it goes. And will we see Niles Core start to attack a little bit more? The pit lane's very busy now. There is Arthur Thurtle just getting to the end of it. More cars coming in. Mike Horder, Nico Minardi, Dominic Brennan, Andy Hopley, Andre Mayerek, Mark Johnson, Heinz Mayer, Jacob Money, Tom Weston. Pretty sure that almost everybody else is coming to the pits. Guy Edwards has managed to carry on for another lap. He's that big blinding shining light that's just gone down the side. And the first pit stop completed by Arthur Thurtle is 19.4 seconds, 19.48. And we'll obviously keep an eye on what distance that extra lap makes, because Povey and Core clearly confident to carry on for an extra lap. Where are the mics? There's Mike Murphy and there is Mike Horder. So Murphy is ahead, and he's a couple of car lengths ahead as well actually. He's got a little bit of an advantage over him as they exit the first corner, so nicely done by Mike Murphy. But look at that, Matthias Pentila, long way gone. 7 seconds less in the pits than Mike Murphy. And to be fair, Arthur Thurtle, 19.4 seconds. Everybody else's pit stops were between 22 and 24 seconds. I'll show you the pit stop time on the left of your screen. That's how long all the pit stops were. Matthias Pentila, the one with the shortest stop by some distance as well. Simon Povey now makes his way down the pit lane. There in front is Adam Watson, who's getting going. And there's been a drama, I'm afraid, for Tom Weston on that previous lap. Coming out of the first corner, he's literally just come out of the pits and he's just looped it on the exit of the corner. So there is Povey, just going past them now and starting another lap. I believe was Ben Chalcraft and Taylor Adams. They've both carried on. So they haven't pitted yet. Arthur Thurtle is coming down the start-finish straight. Guy Edwards is on his way into the pits. Where is Simon Povey in all this? There is Simon. He's only just getting going now. He was stationary for 5 seconds more than Arthur Thurtle. So Arthur is absolutely gone. Not only has he used his pace at the front of the field, but he has disappeared over the horizon in terms of strategy as well at the halfway point. Very well done indeed to Arthur. And does that mean he's going to have to take a longer stop at the end? We'll have to see. Matthias Pentila has gained a place. He'll be over the moon with that one. You can see the difference in the pit stop times on the left of your screen there. 15.8 seconds for the Finn and 19 seconds for Arthur Thurtle. But so it's Ben Chalcraft that's inherited the lead of the race at the moment. White Van Man, as he's known. And he has got Taylor Adams right behind him for Regenta Sim Racing, a team that went really well in the Sim Racing Magazine events Cours au Mans. Another word again for our championship sponsors, Crockery Direct, Derbyshire Holiday Homes and Orris Digital. Thank you very much to all of them. Drew Fletcher at Derbyshire Holiday Homes and of course Heinz Mayer at Orris Digital and Crockery Direct for sponsoring our championship and our events. It's a joy to be working with them, and we are really grateful for their support all the time. So, making it to the halfway point here, very interestingly, Ben Chalcraft and Taylor Adams. Can these two make it to the end with one stop here? I was tipped earlier to say that Niles Corr could potentially be the one to do that because he's very good at saving fuel while remaining rapid. Unsure at this point. We'll have to wait and see. Arthur Turtle re-inherits the race lead as expected. And here it's Philip Hopley trying to chase down Ryan Penny. And this is the battle for 18th place at this moment in time. Second place battle still going on though. Povey just ahead of Corr. Two of them stuck to each other as this race has gone on. There's some drama here. There's a bit of a move around there between Ben Chalcraft and Taylor Adams. The two of them have come out just behind Heinz Mayer in the Orris Racing yellow car. They both had 25-second stops, to be fair. Ben's pit stop was 7 tenths longer. But I reckon he could go to the end there. Christopher Smith saying, no way, a one stop. I love this series. Absolutely, mate. You never know who's going to throw up the surprise, though, do you? We'll have to wait and see. Arthur Turtle's definitely not one stopping, but he is on a mission. And he's had a shorter stop to ensure that he's got that bigger gap to the guys behind at this point. I'm really sorry about the frame rate around that part of the circuit. I have no idea what is causing it to be so horrendous there. But it is really not my friend, is it? There's something on screen at certain parts of the circuit where it really doesn't like me at all. So I'm really sorry about that, everyone. We will get there, hoping to build a new PC over winter as well, and we're talking going from an RTX 2070 graphics card to a 4080 minimum. So either going 4080 or 4090, so we'll have to see just how good the streams look then, eh? But Arthur Turtle continues to lead. That certainly looks good for him, 4090 or not. Niles Corr in third position in possibly one of the prettiest cars I've ever seen in the GT4 category, that BMW. Epic looking car for satellite racing. But he is now starting to get all over the back of that cardboard McLaren, hoping that it withers in the heat and decomposes. Love the noise of the BMW though. Makes a right racket, doesn't it? Straight 6 single turbocharged engine in the BMW M4 GT3. I'm pretty sure that it's single turbo here as well, actually. Actually, no, I don't think it is. I think it's naturally aspirated in the M4 GT4. Again, it makes the same great noise, although Niles Corr has lost a bit of time there to Simon Povey in that opening sector. Let's have a look further down, because Guy Edwards and Tom Weston are glued to each other on the circuit. Tom Weston looks down the inside into turn 1, but nothing doing. Somebody asked me recently where I got that nothing doing phrase from. Apparently it's a gambling term. If there's nobody wins or nobody sort of has any outcome from something, it's the phrase nothing doing comes about. Funnily enough, I first heard that phrase on Pokemon Sapphire on Game Boy Advance. I always remember that you could play roulette on that game. And yeah, I always remember seeing the phrase nothing doing. That's literally where it comes from. I think it's quite an interesting phrase. It's not one you hear every day. Anyway, we continue on with Arthur Turtle leading the way. 25.5 minutes left to go here at Fuji in the very first round of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour here on Chaz Draycott Media with me, Chaz Draycott, as your broadcaster, commentator, league admin, professional idiot, all sorts. And as mentioned, my wonderful colleague Ed May should be back with us for future rounds. He's just got a chest infection at the moment and is struggling to commentate, so we wish Ed all the best. But we're getting all the best at the moment from Arthur Thurtle. This boy is on fire. Really on the move, isn't he? Great race so far from him. Ben Chalcraft is starting to catch the car in front of him, which is Heinz Mayer. I'm wondering whether Taylor Adams is working with him here to try and get to the front of the pack without an extra pit stop. Most people were in the pits for at least a minute from end to end because of how long the pit lane is here. So as long as these guys can stay within a minute of the leaders, they should be golden. But they obviously have to save fuel along the way as well and make it last that extra lap. So let's see what they can do. Taylor Adams certainly did a great job at Le Mans just a week or so ago. Just looking at the times to see if anybody's doing anything out of the ordinary here, but seems like pretty much everyone in the top half of the field is in the 146s. On that last lap, everybody in the top 10 did a 146. Everyone outside of that did 47s and 48s. Guy Edwards did his fastest lap of the race last time round. I'm wondering whether the car's got any damage on the front end because of that earlier contact. It certainly looks like it's been a bit misshapen. He pitted a little bit later than a number of the other drivers. We'll have to wait and see where he balances out to at the end of the race, because we know that Guy is rapid. He was really quick in the Mercedes in the previous season. In season 3 of the GT4 Challenge, Guy was 7th in the championship. Didn't score a podium apparently, which I refuse to believe. Seems not, looking at the points. And also as well, another driver that was worth talking about was Niles Corr, who we've got currently in 3rd place. Niles finished the championship in 2nd place, 2 points ahead of Dominic Brennan, but didn't score a single win all season. 3 podium finishes in the last 4 races of the championship, 5 podiums in a 10-round season. It is almost a crime that Niles Corr didn't end up winning a race. He had so much go against him, and he was nearly champion of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge in this BMW, so that's the sort of pedigree that we're looking at here. Niles an absolute superstar, and we look forward to season 4 of the GT4 Challenge. It hasn't been announced yet and dates have not been set for it yet, but I can tell you that we are definitely going to do it. I mean, to be fair, we're probably going to even consider planning season 5 already, because it's become such a popular championship with a really wonderful community behind it. Everyone is so friendly in this series and in the entire Sim Racing Magazine community. The racing is just as respectful as well. Here's Jacob Money. We've not seen much of him in recent laps. He had his moment around here a couple of laps ago for Sapphire Sim Sport, and since then he's just been on a mission of recovery, trying to get back up with the cars ahead, and now he's behind Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft. He might rock the boat a little bit for these guys here though, because let's not forget that Ben and Taylor, well, they're not really trying to battle each other here, because they're both trying to save fuel, aren't they, and do a one-stop strategy. If Jacob Money sits in front of them, that'll be dynamite for them, because it'll mean that they then get to save fuel off a car that's quick in a straight line. Here comes the BMW, moving very close to Taylor Adams. He's not really giving him all the room in the world. He's boxing him in to ensure that he doesn't go for a move. Jacob Money then down the inside of Ben Chalcraft. Is Ben going to fight this one, or is he going to let him go? I feel he's going to just try and slot in behind and let him go. Yes, he is. You can see, look, Taylor Adams isn't trying to make a move either. I think subconsciously they're working together here for a win. They might not even be communicating with each other, but I feel like it'll work out if they carry on doing this. They currently run in 13th and 14th place now. Points go all the way down to 15th position, so Andre Mayorak is on for some championship points in his first appearance. Guy Edwards chasing him down for those final points though. And Dominic Brennan's catching up with Nico Minardi here in the McLarens. Nico currently running in 7th position. He would normally be car number 13, but his number has been taken by Matthias Pentia, who actually wants to be car 12 for this season, but he joined the league a little bit late, so I wasn't able to set his number in time for this race. but it will be correct going forward. Dom Brennan in the McLaren, livery or not, up into 8th place. He's gained 6 positions so far. Biggest mover in the field is actually Mark Johnson. Mark started 17th on the grid outside of the points, and he's now into the top 10 in his Aston Martin, so fantastic to see that from Mark. He had a very tough time in the GT4 Challenge in Season 3. Scored 24 points, and his biggest score was in round 7 of the championship, where he scored 9 championship points. He had a bit of a tough time of it, like I say. He's normally very, very quick, is Mark, and he's showing us here that he's got the potential to go up there. This is Jacob Money down the inside of Heinz Mayer. Heinz also having a really good run here. He was telling me before tonight that he's very confident and he's always improving. He's certainly showing us that. Look at the car sideways on the exit turn 1 there. Heinz kicking the back end out. Taylor Adams doing the same. Now we're getting asked why did Mayer lose so many places. He had a 38-second pit stop. So it must have been some sort of penalty or something for speeding in the pit lane. He was there for 40 seconds. And there was also a 36-second stop for Toby Johns as well. Kim Such also had a 38-second stop last time round, so but he pitted on lap 8, so Kim's second pit stop will be out of sync with everybody else's. We're currently on the 23rd lap of the race, so it should actually be at the end of the next lap, Kim's pit stop. We'll see whether that comes true or not. But yeah, Mark Johnson going really, really well at the moment. Car number 11, Legends Racing Aston Martin, continuing on at full chat, and Christopher Smith reckons that's 4 tyres in the GT4s. Yeah, that's a very valid point, actually. I did not consider that they may have taken tyres. I suppose it's, again, down to an experience thing, isn't it, in running certain formats in championships. You can see the gorgeous yellow windscreen banners of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge on these cars, and of course all the yellow highlights on the number boards as well. The decal layer looking striking once again this season. I always think it's nice to have a solid decal layer on a car and on a series. It really ties all the cars together and makes them look uniform, doesn't it? Dominic Brennan continues to catch up with Nico Minardi here. Dom finished 3rd in the championship in Season 3 behind Niles Corr, taking 4 podiums on his way there, but another driver that didn't win a race all season. Those of you that don't know Dom, he is the community manager at Fanatec and was recently at the Sim Racing Expo with Fanatec as well. There will be variants of the livery that Simon Povey's running this evening, which include the Fanatec logo and obviously the Precision Sim Engineering logo that Simon tends to run on his race cars as well. I can't tell you how cool it is, though, to see a driver that I, in terms of the circuit superstar world, have idolised for a long time, Nico Minardi. Absolutely rapid. Multiple, I think 7-time world champion and European champion on circuit superstars. Great content creator as well. Absolute mastermind of web development. And Dom Brennan right behind him, one of the community leaders in our sim racing world, and well, not a slouch at all. And to have the two of them battling together here in our championship, well, it's a joy. Matthias Penty, they're in the pits, unsurprisingly, before everybody else. He had a 15.8 second pit stop last time round. Everybody else was near enough 20 seconds or more. Adam Watson is still running, by the way. Adam is 19th at the moment, 4 places gained from where he started in the Altitude Esports Aston Martin. But as I've said before, we don't just give out points for anything in this series, and he's not in the points just yet, unfortunately. He needs to work a little bit harder if he's going to recuperate and get back up there, but he's at least still on the lead lap, which will make him happy indeed, considering he didn't lose all the time in the world for his technical debacle earlier on. Now, is this the move by Taylor Adams? Is he finally making a move on Ben Chalcraft? Are the two of them going to not work together anymore for a potential race win and a strategy call? We'll have to see. Seems like they're going to start fighting. Maybe Taylor's saying, I want to be the one to lead. I can save you a bit of fuel here, sunshine. Let's work together on this, because Ben needs to be careful here because they're losing the cars in front and there's not going to be any slipstream on offer now. Different kettle of fish altogether, isn't it? Mike Horder, by the way, still running in 5th place. He's now behind Mike Murphy, who's having a really solid debut, it has to be said. as Matthias Pentilla has been stationary for 56 seconds. I think maybe he got done for speeding on the way into the pits there. Kim Such into the pits. So I was 1 lap out with my prediction. I do apologise. Arthur Thurtle crosses the line and he goes on to start lap number 26 of this race. Behind him still Simon Povey and Niles Corr. I'd watch out for Niles here, you know. I think he could probably save enough fuel to win this race. They both had identical times in their previous pit stops, 24.95 seconds apiece. It's all still to play for, and this is the great intrigue of this format. So this season it's going to be exciting in so many different ways. We've got these endurance races that are 1 hour long with 2 pit stops apiece on most occasions. But then we have our sprint race nights as well, where we'll have 2 half-hour races, no pit stops, and just out-and-out pace from these drivers. Still on fixed setups as well. It's just going to be epic entertainment all season long. Dominic Brennan trying everything he can to get past Nico Minardi here. The 2 of them all over each other, but Dom's still not able to find a way through past the Austrian just yet. That's another thing I must compliment the community on as well. It's a very international grid again this season. We'll show you the flags on the left hand side, as you see. Mike Horder did insist on a Welsh flag for for his information. We've got the Czech driver Meyerek, we've got Pentilla from Finland, we've got the South African drivers Heinz Meyer and Ralph Meyer, Nico Minardi from Austria and Niles Corr from Germany as well. So it's not just a British community championship and community in general. Great chase here though by Dom Brennan, and great consistency from Nico Minardi in front as Arthur Thurtle comes back into the pit lane. Race leader in as his teammate Adam Watson is on his way out as well. Not sure if Adam had another drama somewhere. 15.2 seconds he was in the pits for. Mike Murphy comes in. He's there somewhere. There he is. But Simon Povey carries on with Niles Corr behind him. The 2 of them first and second in this race again. We'll be looking at wedding venues soon for these pair. They've been glued to each other throughout. One in a small cardboard McLaren, the other in a beautifully elegant monster of a BMW that looks like a housing block on wheels. And we have 12 and a bit minutes left to go. Arthur Thurtle's second pit stop is 14.4 seconds long. He knows that he doesn't need as long a pit stop second time round, and he's got a little bit of clear air here for his first lap back out on track, so he should be able to put in some pretty roasting times instantly on a low amount of fuel. And he hasn't taken 4 tyres anyway in that one, because you can definitely tell with the length of the stop. Now where are Chalcraft and Adams? Half a second apart here, hoping for a one-stop strategy. Keep your eye on Chalcraft and Adams, 11th and 12th at the moment, because they can definitely make it work if they just fuel save enough. They made it past the halfway point. It just depends how much of that final lap the fuel will be saved for. That's the problem. And whether they'll need to do an extra lap. If the leader crosses the line with, say, 5 seconds left to go, it'll be almost 1 minute and 40 seconds extra. The total pit time for Arthur Thurtle, Christopher Smith, was 49.7 seconds. And Ben Chalcraft was 46 seconds behind the leaders as of now. 10 seconds between them, actually. So Chalcraft's definitely not making that extra distance back up, as into the pits comes Nico Minardi, a lap ahead of, or at least, of Dominic Brennan, who carries on through. Chalcraft and Adams definitely not in for a race win, as confirmed by Thurtle there with the amazing pace that he's had, but still. They may gain a bunch of places if they can stay out and not pit for the rest of the race. Povey and Corr have carried on again. They've done another extra lap. Chris reckons they're going to be 4th and 5th. Yeah, probably behind these pair, actually, because they've got 17 seconds over Mike Horder. Would you look at this? Look at 1st, 2nd and 3rd here on the map. 1st and 2nd are that close together. They are one grey blob. But that is the difference between them and the rest of the pack. Look at the next few drivers if I add them in. It's amazing the pace of the top 3. And how they've managed to streak away while also making the pit stops work for them. That's Adam Watson there behind Mike Horder, not Arthur Thurtle. So don't be alarmed by the Altitude Esports Aston Martin. Taylor Adams has now got back into the slipstream of another driver. He's going to be right up behind Ben Chalcraft. Sorry, not Ben Chalcraft, Heinz Mayer. I do apologise. These 3 all together, the Aston Martin, the McLaren and the Porsche. Love this livery on the Orris Racing yellow car as well. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? Although I'm sorry to point it out, Ryan, but it seems to only have the Japanese writing on one side. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. The Japanese writing on the door is definitely only on the right-hand side. Simon Povey and Niles Cora carried on again here. They've had another extra lap. They will have a much shorter final stop than Arthur Thurtle did because he pitted on lap 26. We're now on lap 29. That is a lot of fuel that these guys have managed to save. Taylor Adams goes past Heinz Mayer, he goes into the pits. Taylor and Ben unsurprisingly carry on. Let's go on board with Taylor and see what it's like on his way into turn 1. Yeah, that's not a full chat, is it? Listen to that. They're definitely committing to the fuel-saving tactics. Interesting that at a place with so many high-speed sections and such a long straight, you can fuel save like this. It's very, very intriguing to see. Simon Povey continues to lead this race. Bouncing left, bouncing right, all over the curbs. Niles Cora's had a really, really good run of this, hasn't he? He's just been able to sit and watch that McLaren in front of him, fill his mirrors. And this has definitely been a strategy game all the way through. Are they going to do another lap? Goodness me. Goodness me. They've managed to do another one. As we look a bit further back, Andy Hopley is going to start to maybe hinder Arthur Thurtle here. Apologies. Unless Andy's going to be pitting in the next few moments, Arthur needs to get a shift on here. I imagine Andy might pit now. Yeah, he's going to move over to the right-hand side. He makes it clear that he's going to pit. That's exactly what Arthur Thurtle wanted to see, though. He didn't want another car in his way while he was trying to do as fast a laps as possible to catch back up with our now inherent leaders, I should say. Simon Povey, Niles Cora. Mike Horder is 8 seconds behind them in 3rd place. He's got Adam Watson just in front of him there. Adam's a lap behind. He's just unlapped himself, in fact. He's now just got onto the same lap as Mike Horder. Maybe Mike can use him for a bit of slipstream. That's how many pit stops everybody's done. You can see Thurtle's done 2 stops. Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft are ahead of everybody else at the moment that has done 2 stops. Andre Mayerek now back up into 9th place again after he's having a bit more of a late stop this time round. Guy Edwards will also have a later stop too. I wonder if Guy Edwards has been able to make anything work with the BMW there from a bit further down. I don't think he will have done. He only had a spin and dropped places. I don't think he's done much else strategy-wise up to this point. Now, what are they going again? Oh, this is the worst news for Arthur Thurtle, isn't it? Simon Povey and Niles Cora, with 5 minutes to go, well, 6 minutes, give or take, are carrying on again. Mike Murphy's come out onto the circuit with Andre Mayerek right behind him. Andre has done 1 pit stop, Mike has done 2. And Mike Horder comes into the pits from 3rd place. Mike is in. And here is Arthur Thurtle out the final corner. Not far behind at all. Dominic Brennan has also come into the pit lane ahead of Arthur, so the only 2 cars in front of the Altitude Esports driver now are Simon Povey and Niles Cora. Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft with 5 minutes to go. Still carrying on. What's the fuel saving like now, boys? Oh, it is drastic. It is drastic indeed, but they are making it work. We'll have to see at the very end of the race whether they have completely made it work. Here's Dominic Brennan, about to exit the pit lane. Is there anyone coming? No, it looks like he's going to have a bit of clear road, actually. Just in front of him is Guy Edwards there, but Guy's only made one pit stop, so I'll show you once more just who's made how many pit stops. You can see Povey and Core still yet to pit again. Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft done one stop, and Mayerek and Edwards have also done one stop. Toby Johns also has stopped once. Adam Watson has unfortunately stopped 4 times, and oh my lord, are you joking? Well, we knew that Povey and Core were going to go a long distance here, but we didn't really think they were going to go this far, did we? Problem is, they're still going to be in the pit lane for a long amount of time. Mike Horder was stationary for 8 seconds. He's not out in front of Arthur Thurtle, but he's 20 seconds behind him. And look, he was in the pits for, well, what, 6 seconds less than Thurtle. And he was still in there for 43 seconds. So Povey and the gang will probably, I don't know, it's going to be so close. If these guys do have to stop again, that is, they might have saved enough to make it to the end, but I doubt it. I really do doubt it. Either way, it's been a perfect advert for the series and the format already, hasn't it? It really has shown us just how intriguing it can be with the different strategies that the drivers can produce. But it's Simon Povey for Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped leading Satellite Racing's Niles Core. Then Arthur Thurtle in 3rd place ahead of Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft. These 2 drivers on our screen right now. Mike Horder is 6th at the moment, 8.5 seconds adrift. Then Mike Murphy, Guy Edwards, Dominic Brennan and Andre Mayerek has just come into the pit lane now. That means Nico Minardi should re-inherit a position inside the top 10. And the boss man himself is in there, Mark Fletcher. Not sure how long you've been in there, Mark, but Arthur's been doing a great job. He's led the race pretty much all the way through until his 2nd pit stop. But Simon Povey and Niles Core, they are coming in now. This is going to be the defining moment with 2.5 minutes left to go. I'd argue that this will be coming on to the last lap of the race here. They've tried to make it work. Arthur's just coming through the final couple of sectors now. We'll show you roughly where they are on the circuit. Arthur is the yellow blob, while as our 2 previous leaders were the grey blobs. Arthur's literally coming around the final corner now to catch up with these pair. Simon Povey and Niles Core. 8 seconds, 8.7 seconds was the pit stop for Mike Horder. How long is it going to be for Povey and for Core? 5 seconds for Niles Core, 5.2, and Niles Core has jumped Simon Povey. And here comes Arthur Thurtle as well. He's coming flying down the start-finish straight, but he's not going to be close enough to them. I'd argue we might get an extra lap on top of this, so I don't think this is going to work out for Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft. But Niles Core leads the race in the first round of the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. And that extra 0.3 of a second has really helped him. He was in the pits for 0.9 of a second less than Simon Povey. There is Arthur Thurtle. He'll be heartbroken to see that they've made it work that well. Guy Edwards is back in the pits. And the white flag has been waved by Barney, so some of these drivers are getting the last lap flag. So, yeah, this will be the final lap of the race. Can Niles Core hold on? It's a thrilling conclusion, but this is what happens with the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge, and it's happening again with the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. This is epic, epic stuff. Niles Core, a man that hasn't won a race in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge, ahead of Simon Povey, the first ever champion that we had, who took, I believe, 6 race victories in a season. A season that's only 12 rounds long as well. But Niles Core has signed for Satellite Sim Racing, and he's sending a signal. He's honestly one of the unluckiest blokes in the championships and not taking a win, but he's got to be so careful. I think we're going to get another lap here. You know, I think Barney's done us. I think Barney has done us. Let's have a look, shall we? They come up to the line. There's 10 seconds to go. The white flag was out for the car in front of them. And yeah, we're going to get another lap, surely. We're going to get another lap here at Fuji then. So this is where the confusion comes in now. Have they got enough fuel to make it to the end? Have they got enough? Simon Povey's going to look down the inside. He's going to go for the move into turn 1. Niles Corr says not on your life. He's just going to pretend he's not there. He's run a little bit wide of the apex. Arthur Thurtle's still 3 seconds back on this, so he could pick up on this if these two fight too hard. In the background is Tom Weston, but he's not in this fight with them. Simon Povey trying this way and that way to get past. The cardboard machine is going to try and box its way through. Get it? And Niles Corr is going to place that BMW exactly where he needs to put it. Simon's such an expert in this. McLaren looks down the inside. Niles tries to get to the apex. There's nearly contact, but he's going to use the wider line to run wide on the apex and keep the speed up through 300R, the next right-hander. The Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped team was literally unwrapped and unveiled earlier on today with this new branding. As Niles Corr, has he gone in too deep? No, he somehow got that stopped. How on earth did he get that stopped? It's like trying to stop a cruise ship with a pencil sharpener. Niles Corr is just somehow holding on here in front of Simon Povey, but I fear for Niles that he's going to get caught out with the slipstream, but Simon Povey makes a mistake. He hops over the sausage curbs. We might have people running out of fuel. I worry for Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft. Those two have tried to make it through with a one stop, but with one corner left to go, it's looking good. It's looking good for Niles Corr. He didn't do it in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge, but he's going to do it now, and what a great way to start his account with Satellite Racing. Niles Corr is going to take the win at Fuji in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Winter Tour. What a fantastic race to start the season. It's BMW, McLaren, Aston Martin on the podium. Well done to Simon Povey and Arthur Thurtle. Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft pull off a fantastic strategy as one-stoppers to finish in 4th place and 5th place. What a great drive by both of them. Awesome, awesome stuff. Mike Horder in the Battle of the Mikes is next up. Finishes where he started in 6th place. To Mike Murphy for Minardi Simsport Green. And biggest mover in the field is going to be, by the look of it, tied between Taylor Adams, this man, Dominic Brennan. 6th place is gained. And Adam Watson a bit further down. Andy Hopley's going to finish inside the top 10. And so too is Nico Minardi as well. Nico Minardi on his debut in the series means that all 3 Minardi Simsport drivers finish inside the top 10. Epic stuff. What a great first round to the season that was. But finally everybody, finally Niles Corr wins a round in one of our GT4 championships in any form. He did not win a race in season 4 of the GT4 Challenge, but he has finally done it, and what a great way to do it as well. He sat patiently behind Simon Povey all the way through. So excited to have played the wrong music. That was an amazing start to the season, wasn't it? Absolutely amazing. Well done to Niles Corr. The car's probably out of fuel now anyway. We've still got cars crossing the line. Adam Watson for Altitude Esports will be wondering what might have been. He had a technical during qualifying, which meant that he didn't go out and set a time. And then at the start of the race, he also had another technical, which meant he didn't take the start. Ryan Penny crosses the line in 18th place. No championship points first time round for Ryan, unfortunately, but still a solid drive and a lot of battling for him. And that is the race complete, everybody. Wow. Great way to start the season, that is. So Niles Corr takes the win by just under 0.4 of a second from Simon Povey, with Arthur Thurtle. What a great drive from him as well, leading the way pretty much all the way through, only beaten on strategy there. Taylor Adams finishes in 4th place with a great strategy with him and Ben Chalcraft getting top 5 positions. Well done, boys. Mike Horder finishes in 6th, a bit of a lonely race for him, but eventually beating Mike Murphy to the flag. Then Dominic Brennan recovers well for Spontex CDM Esports Unwrapped. Andy Hopley returns with a top 10 finish ahead of Nico Minardi. All Minardi Simsport drivers getting top 10s on their debuts. Epic. Jacob Money next up in 11th place. Good to see him back as well. Mark Johnson gets some points out of the Aston Martin on his first try tonight as well. Heinz Mayer is next up, constantly improving and gets up to 13th. Andre Mayerek and Matthias Pentia both get points on their debuts as well. Ahead of Guy Edwards, who just misses out, Adam Watson, who just misses out, Ryan Penny in 18th place, and then Tom Weston, Philip Hopley, Kim Such and Toby Johns are a lap down, with Gary Tall the only retiree from the race. Well, I need a lie down, that is for sure. I absolutely need a lie down, because Well, doing that one single-handedly for the start of the season, what an exciting time that was. But I'm delighted to say we are going to go back in time. We're going to look at some slow-mo replays, and we are going to have an interview with the one and only Niles Court, who has won finally in a GT4 car here in SRM. Niles, you did a fantastic job at Le Mans last week. Well done on that again, but this one must taste so much sweeter. It's been a long time coming, this, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm really happy about this, especially after joining my new team, Satellite Racing, and instantly getting a win for them. That feels very good.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it. Straight into a new outfit, straight into a new livery, and boom, the BMW right back up there at the front. Talk me through the strategy, though. Was there any moment where you thought it might not work being behind Simon and working with him on the fuel? Because I had no idea you were going to go that long.
Actually, Simon helped me out a lot, I would say. I think if I wouldn't have been able to keep in his draft, I might have lost him. Especially the last sector with these very long and wide corners where you can't really see the apex. I only have a single screen, so I have to kind of guess where to turn in. So it helps a lot if you have a car you can just follow, and Simon is obviously quite quick, so that helped out a lot.
Yeah, it certainly looked like a difficult circuit to follow other cars on, and I mean, even trying to overtake round here, you know, there was no obvious sort of overtaking opportunities on this track, and I think that's what sort of kept it so entertaining for everybody, really, because you never really knew what to expect and where, did you?
Yeah, I couldn't have overtaken him on track, I'm pretty sure of that. I was sometimes like 3/10 behind at the start of the straight, but I wasn't really gaining in the draft, only for the last meters. I could have maybe tried a dive bomb, but in the end it was all about the fuel saving.
Yeah.
And it turns out I just about nailed it on the fuel. I ran out of fuel just before the line.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was really tight.
I was going to say, I wondered, because the fact that you finished the race with, I think, well, you crossed the line with like 5 or 4 seconds left, and I was just amazed to see that the race was going to go a full lap extra on top, because one of the concerns is when you are saving fuel, that the race goes so far beyond the 1 hour, isn't it? It's a bit of a scary time.
As this is only a single class, the fuel calculators usually deal with it quite well, so you usually don't get messed over by it.
Well, it was an absolute epic drive all the same, Niles, and we are all very, very happy to see you get that first win in the GT4s here in Sim Racing Magazine. You absolutely deserve it after such a strong campaign in the GT4 Challenge. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Yeah, definitely want to give a big shout out to Satellite Racing, and especially Adam Crane, who just managed to also set me up with a livery for this car. As yesterday we actually didn't even have one, and they were really quick and got me one for the season start.
Well, it looked beautiful, and you made it work, Niles. Very well done, mate. We'll let you go and enjoy your evening, but we will see you in a week's time for the sprint races when we go to Suzuka. Have a good evening.
Yeah, see ya. Thanks.
Well, there you go, everybody. Niles Court finally wins a race in GT4 cars here in SRM, and I tell you, he absolutely deserved it. But you have to give commiserations as well to this man. Arthur Thurtle joins me in the commentary box. Arthur, fantastic drive first off, because you had the pace, you disappeared up the road. I think you were maybe as dumbfounded as I was that the guys made the fuel work like that.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I'm going to have a word with Mark, who runs Altitude, though, because he gave me the rookie pit crew tonight.
I will absolutely back that up, because I'd love it when we can get one over on Mark. So all good. Well, talk us through the race from your perspective, though, because you did everything right in terms of the pace and in terms of just flat out driving. Was the Aston a joy tonight, or was it a bit of a piggy?
I always enjoy the Aston. I looked after the tyres like they were a precious commodity. And, I had to get the pole, because I knew that if the McLaren was in front, the McLaren is so fast in the straight line, compared to the Aston, that I wouldn't be able to get past. So I was pleased to get pole, and I thought if I can just get away, break the toe, I thought hopefully I'd have a fairly comfortable night, and I was shocked when they came out that far ahead of me, because before the pit stops I had I think a 2-second lead.
Yeah.
And the time between us stayed exactly the same the whole way through the middle stint. And yeah, I was very surprised. I also had 2 white flag laps.
Yes, I'm not surprised at that either, to be fair, because there was a lot of cars behind our 2 leaders when they came out of the pits that everyone had the white flag. It confused me as well, so I think Barney's going to get a bit of a slap on the wrist as well as Mark. But it's sorry, go on.
I was going to say, if you sort my pit crew out at the same time, please.
I'm sure we'll come to some arrangement with Mark. We'll have a word with him. But still, it's been great to have you join the series, Arthur. It's great to see that initial demonstration of pace as well. We know we've got a front runner in you for the series. What do you make of the sort of mixed format of having sprint races and endurance throughout a short season like this?
It's really good. It's nice to have a decent mixture. Because it can alter the grid up a little bit. When it's the same format every round, you sort of half the time you end up with similar results every round, the same drivers in about the same places. When it's a sprint race, is the second sprint a reverse grid, or is it?
It is, yeah, 15 places as well.
Yeah, that'll definitely mix things up. Definitely. And I enjoy a reverse grid.
Oh, me too. That's the thing. I try and find more and more places where we can use them, but I don't like it when they're massive. I like a sort of half or less of the field, really. But I think it's important as well that you score the same points in the second race that you do in the first race as well. So there's no benefit, really, to sort of doing one or the other, which really should help the championship stay mixed up, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I've done a league before when it was the second race. The reverse grid race was worth more points.
Oh.
And I won nearly every first round.
But not the second.
And then in the second race, I didn't. And then I lost the championship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
And it wasn't from finishing badly. It was just from like the people that would finish second and third. If they won, they got like 5 extra points or something.
Ah, right, yeah. We did similar with the British Boring Car Championship, actually, but that's because the feature races, the second races, were longer. But it seemed that there was certain drivers that specialised in sort of finishing 8th and then suddenly driving off in the feature race. So, yeah, it's one of those, unfortunately. But you got to play the game, I guess. But it was great to see you do that this evening. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to before we let you go?
I've got a list.
Oh, no.
Mr. Fletcher has sent me over a list. Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsors of Altitude, who are Freem Sim Stickers and Mr. Hedge Photography. And I'd like to shout out Mark from Altitude as well for giving me the opportunity to drive for him. But yeah, that's it. That's it at the moment.
Lovely stuff. It's a nice short list then. That's all good. Well, it's an absolute pleasure, Arthur. Great to see you in the championship. Like I say, mate, well done on your result, and we look forward to seeing how you get on over the season. Cheers.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Smashing. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
There you go then, Arthur Thurtle, everybody, finishing third in that race, but what a great demonstration that was of pace for the first round of the season. Simon Povey also in second position, showing he has not lost it at all, still right up there in these GT4s. Hats off also to Taylor Adams and Ben Chalcraft and the Minardi Simsport team with the 3 drivers that all finished inside the top 10 tonight. But of course, the star of the show, Niles Kaur, he was so patient throughout that one and finally takes a win here on Sim Racing Magazine and on Chaz Draycott Media. A final shout out as well to our sponsors, Derbyshire Holiday Homes, Crockery Direct and Orris Digital. Thanks very much to them and for everybody for the support of the championship, and of course Andy Marston, the boss man at Sim Racing Magazine. Thank you everybody for watching. It's been a real joy here at Fuji to start the season, but you can rest assured that it's going to be just as exciting next week when we head to Suzuka for 2 half-hour sprint races. No pit stops, just out and out pace and a reverse grid with the same points on offer. It's going to be a blast. But from me, Chaz Draycott, from hopefully next week we'll see Ed May back. But of course, it's been a pleasure as always here on Chaz Draycott Media. Enjoy the rest of your night and we'll see you again soon. Have a good one. 4 French drivers at the French Grand Prix trying to win this on the final lap. The 3 wide again, Guillaume down the inside. Guillaume moves across, they're both in front of Milan and Fuji.
Before you know it, we find ourselves here in the very final race of the competition.
And then they see truck racing and they think, this is crazy, you know, these are 5-ton machines, 1,200 horsepower brake.
Oh, look at that switchback. Oh, he's been moved and the drift is going off. with Ben Gregory now. I love this. 16.5 minutes gone. Senna Lanson tries to go for the race lead.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.